Each step I take, I feel as though I'm one step closer to equality. Equality not because I'm finally the same height as all my able-bodied friends and family, 6'1" as opposed to 4'9" when I'm sitting in my chair. Equality because I feel as though I'm freed from the two things that keep people from truly being equal. Those two things are oppression and control.
Country road and tired eyes, I was on my way home. College has been good to me, wanna hug my dad and mom.
Betty C, when I'm standing and walking with you, I no longer feel disabled, nor do I feel able-bodied. I feel re-enabled. And when I close my eyes, you cook like Betty and you move like Banks. And when I reopen them, you are still just a memory. But I'm no longer angry at you, because being re-enabled means that I'm no longer oppressed and controlled by my injury and the outside world. I got legs, do you? I've honorably named my exoskeleton the Betty Carlton. Betty after my late grandmother, and Carlton after my favorite TV show character from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
'Cause I got the heart of a lion. After all this crying, I'm gonna prove them wrong. 'Cause I got legs. I'm gonna change the world with every step that I take. I got legs. My body's able again.
Our mission is to re-enable members of the disabled community and the towns and cities they live in. And our goal with I Got Legs is to bridge the gap between what it means to be disabled versus able-bodied.
My father stood by me every step of the way. Well, Mom was off working hard. Somebody had to make the pay. Took a whole damn month and the prayers would finally answer. Been up and down, everything between. Felt like I was fighting cancer. So now I stand up proud and tall. I feel like an avatar, I can do it all. 'Cause I got legs. I'm gonna change the world with every step that I take. Yeah, I got legs. No longer am I waiting. My body's able again.
Guys, please welcome Adam Gorlitsky.
Test, 1, 2. All right, so I'm gonna transfer out of my chair and get into my standing frame. Chrissy passed out a flyer to everybody. There's a few images, or yeah, I guess the entire flyers will be referenced during my speech. So there's some moments in the speech that if you kind of get lost in, just kind of look down at that flyer and Dear Betty Carlton, when I am standing and walking with you, I do not feel disabled anymore, nor do I feel able-bodied. I feel re-enabled. And when I close my eyes, you cook like Betty and you move like Banks. And when I reopen them, you are still just a memory. Please let me know when you're ready to come down from your rooftop and meet me at the finish line. Today is July 21st, 2017, and I have now taken a grand total of 136,429 steps using my Rewalk robotic exoskeleton. I've honorably named my exoskeleton the Betty Carlton. Betty after my late grandmother, and Carlton after my favorite TV show character from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I tell people that the spirit of my grandmother is going to allow me to do the Carlton dance one day. She was an amazing person. She was the most masculine woman, roller derby gal, just chain smoked two packs of cigarettes a day. Just an amazing woman. I grew up just idolizing her. My 136,429 steps have all been taken in road races throughout the country as part of my I Got Legs 1 Million Steps Re-Enabled Race Tour. I launched my tour on April 2nd, 2016, where I became the first paralyzed man in history to walk the Cooper River Bridge Run here in my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina. The 6.2 mile race took me almost 7 hours and exactly 17,932 grueling, hard-fought steps to complete. It was physically, mentally, and emotionally the most challenging thing I've ever accomplished in my life. It was also the greatest day of my life. And since then, I've walked in a total of almost 20 races all throughout the United States. Each step I take, I feel as though I'm one step closer to equality. Equality not because I'm finally the same height as all my able-bodied friends and family, 6'1" as opposed to 4'9" when I'm sitting in my chair. Equality because I feel as though I'm freed from the two things that keep people from truly being equal. Those two things are oppression and control. Betty C., when I'm standing and walking with you, I no longer feel disabled, nor do I feel able-bodied. I feel re-enabled. And when I close my eyes, you cook like Betty and you move like Banks. And when I reopen them, you are still just a memory. But I'm no longer angry at you, because being re-enabled means that I'm no longer oppressed and controlled by my injury and the outside world. I got legs, do you? My journey towards equality actually began eight months prior to me ever crossing the finish line of the 2016 Cooper River Bridge Run. The exact day was August 3rd, 2015. It was on this day where I chose to go down to Roper St. Francis Hospital and stood up for the first time in 10 years using their Rewalk robotic exoskeleton. Their Rewalk unit was named Gertie. But unlike the Betty Carlton, Gertie's computer and battery system were held within a backpack that I wore while walking. The Betty Carlton is way sexier than that Gertie. It still drives me. Both still really drive me just as crazy though. Standing up in Gertie on August 3rd, 2015 was the first time in almost 10 years that I didn't feel disabled. It was like that scene from the movie Avatar when the main character Jake, who's also paralyzed from the waist down, first becomes the blue creature. My entire world opened up. But man, I was sore as hell the next morning, and it literally took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours just to get out of bed. My first 4 training sessions on Gertie consisted of nothing more but learning how to stand up, sit down, and balance using my 2 arm crutches. Then came my 5th training session on August 15th, 2015. It was the day that the world shook, at least my world did. I took my first 7 steps in almost 10 years. If you want to see those steps, you got to go to my Road Warrior 47 Instagram page. Gertie, when I was standing and walking with you those first 4 months, I did not feel disabled anymore, nor did I feel able-bodied. I felt what I told my mom, temporarily abled. And when I closed my eyes, I could only still dream of the Betty Carlton. And when I reopen them, the memory of my mom getting mad at me still remains. Stop saying you're temporarily abled. It's too pessimistic. I don't like it. Stop saying it. Up until this point, I'd been training on Gertie for almost 4 months. My mom, being the person she is, came back to me 10 minutes later after nervously vacuuming the floors with a piece of paper with just one word written on it. That one word was re-enabled. Our cause for I Got Legs is what it means to be disabled versus able-bodied. Our mission is to re-enable members of the disabled community and the towns and cities they live in. And our goal with I Got Legs is to bridge the gap between what it means to be disabled versus able-bodied. Thanks, Mom. I Got Legs, do you. I was on Instagram a while back, and I saw a picture. If you look on the flyer, it's on y'all's flyer. The picture was of a shirtless, paralyzed man sitting in a wheelchair very similar to mine. His back was turned to the camera, so we could not see his face. Superimposed on his back was a quote that read, "I no longer fear death, I fear life. I no longer fear death, I fear life." When I saw this quote, I couldn't help but to reflect on the time when I was denied an entry-level film production job because the production company did not have an accessible ramp to accommodate my needs. I looked straight at death during my car accident 12 years ago, but there is no escaping those 7 steps to that production office. I have one thing to say to them now. I got legs, do you? If you were to type the phrase definition of able-bodied into Google right now, the very first definition that would pop up on your screen would be able-bodied, fit, strong, healthy, not physically disabled. I no longer fear death, I fear life because I feel as though the outside able-bodied majority keeps telling me and the 56 other million people who are disabled that our injuries, birth defects, and afflictions make us not fit, not strong, and not healthy. They make us physically disabled. And if we aren't careful, people will use our injuries, birth defects, and afflictions to not only build us up for their own inspiration, motivation, or when they're trying to prove a point to someone else, but they will use our injuries, birth defects, and afflictions to also cut us down, to oppress our voices, and control our actions when things don't go their way. To the volunteer who try to pinpoint my inability to quote-unquote multitask on not only my injury, but also my car accident 12 years ago, and who later did not apologize and even doubled down on the statement in an email written to me, I have one thing to say to you now. I got legs, do you? And for the for-profit companies and business owners who want to leverage both my personal brand and the I Got Legs mission and cause for their own personal profitable gain, pay me fairly as you would with any other spokesperson or model. And if you do that, you are more than welcome to restrict the funds you donate to I Got Legs any which way you want. I walk for myself, I walk for I Got Legs, and I walk for the people that I Got Legs represents, but I am no martyr for you. I got legs, do you? Betty C., when I'm standing and walking with you, I do not feel disabled anymore, nor do I feel able-bodied. I feel re-enabled. And when I close my eyes, you cook like Betty and you move like Banks. And when I reopen them, people don't grab my hair, jerk my wheelchair around, hug me without asking. When I'm standing walking with you, I feel as though people suddenly start to take me a little more seriously. Maybe it's me that's finally taking myself a little more seriously. If only you had been by my side when I found out that a punk 18-year-old kid got that entry-level film production job over me. Maybe I wouldn't have cried for as long as I did. But until you get approved by the FDA for your stair climbing feature, those 7 steps to that production office will still haunt my reality, but I promise you they will not keep me from achieving my dreams. I'm too good for that, Betty C. And when I came and saw you on your birthday that day, I know you saw that too. If only you knew me before my car accident. On December 30th, 2005, I was just your average 19-year-old punk sophomore in college. I couldn't cook like Betty, and I didn't move like Banks. But back in the day, I sure as hell could shoot a basketball lights out like Curry. I wasn't A-list like Channing Tatum. But I didn't need Magic Mike to be cool. I couldn't carry a tune like Dent May, but I'm friends with an even cooler May named Danny May, who also wrote a really great song called I Got Legs. And don't let these legs fool you. I swear that I once ran a sub 5-minute mile. And just like you, I could run an even faster cross-country 5K. I know he's fit, strong, healthy, but could your new man ever do that? I got legs, does he? Betty C., when I'm standing and walking with you, I do not feel disabled anymore, nor do I feel able-bodied. I feel re-enabled. And when I close my eyes, you cook like Betty and you move like Banks. And when I reopen them, you're still just a memory. And I know after 136,429 total steps, I know these legs still don't fool you. I recently just turned 31 years of age. I grew up in Charleston almost my entire life, and I'm a low country boy through and through. But despite my southern accent, I did spend the first 5 years of my life in Cleveland, Ohio, which is actually where I was born. Betty C., would your new man also go on Twitter and tell me to go back home too? On the outside, I am white, I have green eyes, short brown hair, and a pointy nose. I looked like every other frat boy at my alma mater, University of South Carolina. I remember a few months before my car accident, I was downtown Columbia at 5 Points, and in the bathroom I saw a Jewish Star of David etched on the stall door. Underneath that star read, "Go back home to your oven." A swastika was right next to it. Don't let my Channing Tatum-esque features fool you. I was born to a mom who was Catholic and a dad who was Jewish. And like you, Betty C., I could fool people into thinking I was one of them. I'm sorry I fooled you. Betty C., I swear in God's name that when, not if, modern medicine and technology catches up to your dreams, I swear that I will be able to not only hold you tight, kiss you passionately, but I will also be able to carry you down that aisle. Because I do realize that when you were little, eating cookies and sipping tea with your stuffed animals and Malibu Barbies, talking about your dream wedding to your knight in shining armor, that the armor you were talking about definitely weighed more than 15 pounds and wasn't made out of aluminum, and sure as hell didn't come with wheels and spokes. And I'm sure that the knight in shining armor was a little bit taller than 4 foot 9 inches. I'm 6'1" when I stand. I know, though, that when you look at me now on social media, you still see me for me. And if I saw you on Tinder, I'd still swipe right on you. I got legs now, do you? Betty C, when I'm standing and walking with you, I do not feel disabled anymore, nor do I feel able-bodied. I feel re-enabled. And when I close my eyes, you still cook like Betty and you move like Banks. And when I reopen them, you are still just a memory. Ironically enough, you're the only one that knows all of my memories. Before I fell asleep at the wheel on the night of December 30th, 2005, I stood 5 feet 10 inches and weighed 195 pounds. I may not have been able to cook like Betty or move like Banks, but I sure as hell had a booty like Banks. 8 days later, when I woke up from my drug-induced coma, I had a feeding tube down my nose, a tracheotomy tube placed in my throat, and I weighed almost 50 pounds less. That Banks-like booty was nothing more than just a memory. Betty C, I still remember yours too well, though. God, you were beautiful. 3 weeks after my car accident, I was airlifted from the Medical University of South Carolina, here in Charleston, and was taken to the Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia. I knew I had a spinal cord injury and was paralyzed from the waist down. But I had yet to know if my injury was permanent or not. A week after I arrived in Atlanta, the nurses lifted me up out from my bed, placed me in my wheelchair, and rolled my dad and I down a very long hallway to a boardroom full of doctors. This day would become my judgment day. The 4 doctors placed my x-rays, ultrasounds, and MRIs up on a big board. My verdict, complete paralysis from the belly button down for what they told me would be the rest of my life. Wheelchair bound. Betty C, I didn't know you back then, but having you by my side would have helped cushion the blow quite substantially. Your voice, though, is all I ever needed. I got legs, do you? Betty C, when I'm standing and walking with you, I do not feel disabled anymore, nor do I feel able-bodied like I once did. I feel re-enabled. And when I close my eyes, you cook like Betty and move like Banks. And when I reopen them, you are still telling me, you don't need me anymore. Adam, you don't need me anymore. Little do you realize that I need you more now than ever, because we are only just getting started. After clumsily taking my first steps on August 15th, 2015, I decided that if I was going to ever walk the entire 2016 Cooper River Bridge Run, I was going to have to fundraise for my own exoskeleton legs. Those legs are sitting right here. This is the Betty Carlton. Thankfully, I had acquired a different kind of legs in the 5 years leading up to this fundraising moment. The legs I used were the film production skills that I had acquired, not from the one production that didn't have the ramp, but from the ones that I put together on my own and with my own money. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for letting me live at home until I was almost 28 years old. I used those production skills to put together my own GoFundMe video. I used the writing skills from the failures of many unproduced screenplays I had written to write the written portion of my GoFundMe campaign that I launched on October 19th, 2015. That written portion read, "Hey everyone, my name's Adam Gorlitsky, and 10 years ago, I sustained a spinal cord injury from a car accident and was rendered paralyzed from the waist down by a board of doctors for the rest of my life. Well, finally, after all these years, I have something to say to them. I got legs. And that's why I've created this GoFundMe. I need your help funding my new legs. What exactly are my new legs? My new legs come in the form of a robotic exoskeleton called Rewalk. Picture Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, but without all the cool laser beams and the ability to fly. And we all know that famous saying, before you can shoot lasers and fly, you must learn to crawl and walk. I was kind of a dork back then. And that's exactly what Rewalk does for me. It gives me the ability to walk again. My goal with the Rewalk exoskeleton is to become the first paralyzed man ever to walk in one of the country's largest 10K races, the Cooper River Bridge Run, that takes place in my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina, on April 2nd, 2016. My mission while on this journey is to raise awareness about the Rewalk robotic exoskeleton and to raise money that will help empower and connect people of all disabilities to help bridge the gap between what it means to be disabled versus able-bodied. The exoskeleton you see me wearing in this video now is not mine. It's Roper Hospital's, and her name is Gertie. Gertie is an older model of exoskeleton. The exoskeleton I'm enlisting your help with funding is for the new Rewalk 6.0, which I plan to name the Betty Carlton after my late grandmother and my favorite TV show character, Carlton Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The Betty Carlton trumps Gertie in every way. She's faster, quieter, and will be easier for me to strap on. Also, the backpack portion is built into the exoskeleton itself for a much sleeker design. So goodbye, Iron Man. Hello, James Bond. That was a dork. All kidding aside, though, there are many others like me in my hometown that deserve to be using Roper Hospital's exoskeleton. So the faster I can purchase my own personal unit, the faster those people can feel the same thing I've been experiencing over the past few months. It's a whole new chapter in my life, a life in which I am able to stand at eye level when I talk to people, a life in which I can climb stairs pending FDA approval, a life in which I can hug my mom, girlfriend, or future child and tell them that everything will be okay, a life in which there are no barriers between my dreams and the efforts required to turn those dreams into a reality. My new legs mean I am one step closer to living a life without the required use of a wheelchair. I got legs and I can't wait to use them to help spread the message of equality and empowerment to millions of others around the world living with paralysis due to spinal cord injury. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch my video. I can't purchase my new legs without your help. So please either donate or share this page with as many people as possible. And who knows, with enough training, I may be able to do the Carlton dance come race day. Betty C., when I'm standing and walking with you, I no longer feel disabled anymore, nor do I feel able-bodied like I once did. I feel re-enabled. And when I close my eyes, you cook like Betty and you move like Banks. And when I reopen them, you are still just a memory. But thanks to you, I'm as fit, strong, healthy as I've ever have been. And it's because of you that I no longer fear life. And I no longer fear myself or my injury. Please let me know when you're ready to come home or come down from that rooftop and meet me at the finish line. Until then, I got legs, do you? 136,429 steps down, 800,063, 571 to go. That's a big number to say. Love always, Adam, aka the Road Warrior 47. Thank you. Taking all that.
Hey, Adam, I got a question for you. You kind of glossed over your filmmaking career. Can you tell us a little something about that and what plans you have for that later on?
Yeah. So before I got legs, I went to school for film production. I'm a big film fan. Hey, Dad, can you get this off real quick? No, I was at Trident Tech for film production, and I did short films and music videos. The band I did music videos for is a cool band here in town called Stoplight Observations. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they're pretty good. Check them out. And but no, so for I Got Legs, I'm able to kind of put my storytelling and film stuff into I Got Legs. We're making a documentary right now, or have been over the past, say, about a year and a half now. We got a lot of different options we can kind of do with it. All right, I can hold that. Oop. But no, it's you know, I tell people, you know, I really do feel the most fulfilled I've ever been in my life, because I get to kind of, you know, I get to combine all my passions into I Got Legs. I'm an athlete. You know, I tell people that, you know, really I've kind of lived 3 lives, at least physically. The first 19 years I was an athlete, played basketball and ran track and cross country. And then I got hurt, and I got really into filmmaking after that. And then now I'm re-enabled. And then my parents, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family and very creative family. So I now get to combine all that into I Got Legs, and it's really cool.
Does anybody else have a question for Adam?
Here, Dad, can you kind of... I'm a little nervous when I get in this thing, so kind of bear with me. Yeah, I'm supposed to be. I was supposed to do, and I think I still am, the Portland Marathon in Portland, Oregon. They're having some trouble with their race permit, though. The race is on October 8th, and I'm supposed to be doing the entire marathon, which is, you know, my version of the marathon. I walk about 2/3 the speed of your average able-bodied walker. So my marathon is really a 10K. It takes me almost 7 hours and, you know, about 17,900 steps. So to do the marathon would probably take me about 5 days. So I'd camp out and kind of make it into like this cool camping trip. And I don't know if I'm not sure if y'all been to Portland, but it's kind of a cool little funky town where you can kind of camp out and like, no, you know, like I mean, if you want to, you can camp out like on the street, and like nobody cares.
Can you tell us what you love so much about Carlton Banks?
You know, he's just, you know, he's a really kind of confident guy. You know, he really kind of was. He just didn't care what people thought of him in that Carlton dance. And then the one time, I'm a huge Fresh Prince fan. I've seen like every episode. There's one episode where he did start caring about what people thought, and he had a drug overdose or something, like speed or something. It was like a big thing. He was like trying to fit in and stuff. But But no, I don't know. He just kind of puts you in a good mood.
One more question here.
I was just gonna let everybody know I'm Adam's matchmaker. So if
She is. This is Buffy, by the way.
Yeah.
Charleston wine pairings.
yeah, and so if anybody in the room is single and interested, let me know. Do you wanna tell them maybe a little bit about what you're looking for in a woman?
Oh man.
Today on Love Connection.
Oh man. Oh man. I don't. I'm. I don't know if I'm a weird guy. I mean, I gotta be pretty weird to do what I'm doing.
Somebody who likes camping on the side of the road.
Right.
That's right. Someone that's adventurous, but also driven, strong, independent woman, but that's not controlling.
We have a taker here. Question.
Adam, can
Jennifer
you tell-
Lawrence, if anybody knows her, please send her my love.
Can you tell us a little bit about what we can look for from you next in Charleston? I think you mentioned maybe a beer run or race. Maybe
Oh yeah. So I guess before I stand up, I'll kind of tell everybody about our programs now for I Got Legs. So I was telling you up there, what is your name? The girl that asked me yeah. Well, so I was telling you out or everybody. I walk about 2/3 the speed of your average able-bodied walker. So our programs for I Got Legs are two programs that kind of stem off my 1 million steps re-enabled race tour. Those two programs are the re-enabled race program and our step tour program. The re-enabled race, all that really is a scaled starting line. So at the last October, I walked the Marine Corps Marathon. I started at mile 20 at the same time as everybody else. I was by myself. I was with my dad, who's just right here. Hey, Dad. We're in the same shirt. So I started mile 20 at the same time as everybody else, and it still took 7 hours and the same amount of steps. But it's cool because I got to start at the same time as everybody, scaled in, and then finished with all the slower runners. So it's kind of the same thing what like golf courses do with the different sets of tee boxes. So our re-enabled race program is this. I'm going to pinpoint 6 races within Charleston. We'll start here in Charleston. Pinpoint 6 races where I insert my own official scaled starting line. It's going to have like official signage. There's going to be a category within the race registration called the I Got Legs Re-enabled Athlete course. So if you're a challenged athlete, both physically or mentally or emotionally, you can sign up for that and walk with me or whoever else. And then we're also going to be a charity partner of that race. So we did this on July 4th. I've done this 3 times now. Beaufort, Orange County Marathon, and then July 4th at the Firecracker 5K here in Charleston. So I'm going to insert those 3 elements into 6 races, package those 6 races together, and that's going to be our I Got Legs or our Charleston Re-enabled Racing Circuit. And then we'll partner with Roper. Because Roper is the only rehab center within Charleston that has this robotic exoskeleton technology. And the goal is to get more people down to Roper to even start training on the exoskeleton. Because right now there's just not many people going down there. And insurance will pay for the training sessions associated with these exoskeletons, but they won't pay for the cost of these exoskeletons. So that's where our step tour program comes in. So let's say you're training on your exoskeleton at Roper or any other walking device or leg brace, and your insurance is paying for the training sessions, and all of a sudden you go, man, I want to own my own exoskeleton. I want to fundraise. So what we're going to do, we're going to create those people that want to fundraise for their exoskeleton their own step tour. Their step tour will take place within their Charleston Re-enabled Racing Circuit. I Got Legs will pledge $1 per step that they take on their step tour that takes place within the Charleston Re-enabled Racing Circuit. There's 57, I believe, 57 cities throughout the United States that have a rehab center that has this technology in it. So the goal is to create a Charleston Re-enabled Racing Circuit first, and then create, I guess, kind of similar to what the NFL does with the franchises, to go pinpoint those other cities and create those cities racing, like for instance, the Greenville, South Carolina has an exoskeleton. We would create the Greenville Re-enabled Racing Circuit, and we do that same model in every city that has this technology in it. And then let's say that, so this is great because, and if, I'm kind of talking a lot now, I'm sorry. But so what it does though, it allows somebody to, like myself, to get their legs back on their own, instead of just handing it to somebody. My entire life has changed because, I spent hundreds of hours selling T-shirts, walked all those steps. So what's cool though is that our Step Tour program and Re-enabled Race program, it allows people to earn it back on their own. But it also, let's say that person, so it's $85,000 for an exoskeleton. So it would take 85,000 steps to get your legs back. So what our Step Tour program does though, it allows that person's friends and family and local community to leverage the I Got Legs brand and our 501c3 status to hold fundraising events in honor of this person's step tour. So that person might not even have to take any steps in their step tour. But what's cool about it is that, let's say that person still wants to do their step tour. They've only taken 500 steps. Well, now they can turn their focus on the town and city that they live in. And I Got Legs will pledge $1 per step that'll go toward better adapting the town and city that they live in. So for example, if I wanted to use the bridge run next year, which I'll be doing, it's as part of my 1 Million Steps tour. If I wanted to fundraise for like a ramp, accessible ramp on Sullivan's Island Beach, let's say, I could use my step tour and we would pledge $1 per step that I take during the Cooper River Bridge Run that'll go toward an accessible ramp. And people, we can hold fundraising events in honor of that. So I don't have to take any steps, I'm still going to, but no. So it gives people the opportunity to earn it back on their own, which is important. But yeah, that was kind of a long-winded answer. I'm not sure what the original question was.
All good, Adam.
Oh, the beer mile. Yeah.
Beer mile.
So, I feel, if we're going to pinpoint 6 races where we put re-enabled races in, I kind of feel obligated to create my own race. So the first race would be, as of right now, it's tentatively scheduled on the anniversary of my car accident. It's the Betty Carlton Beer Mile. It's a beer mile. It's to celebrate the kickoff to the Charleston Re-enabled Racing Circuit. It's on December 30th of this year. That's be the 13th anniversary of my car accident and the 3rd anniversary of when the exoskeleton manufacturer came down and presented me this exoskeleton that you're seeing me wear right now. And hopefully it'll be the anniversary of the Betty Carlton Beer Mile. We have a lot of meetings for that. That's more complicated than it probably needs to be, but it is.
Adam, we got probably 1 more minute just to see you in action and maybe say a little send-off to everybody here and how they can connect with you.
Cool. IGotLegs.org. I'm a big fan of Instagram. So I Got Legs on Instagram. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. If whoever wants to email me, IGotLegs.org. I probably respond faster to Instagram though. It's like real time. My website, I have to go through like a third party. That kind of sucks. But
and any eligible ladies can get your number after this.
Hey, I mean, it's all right, so I'm going to get up. I'm going to stand up in this. I'm not going to walk because there's just not that much room. But can we all take a picture though? Like, so I'll stand up, turn around, and if anybody can kind of take it, from this angle.
Yeah, we have a photographer here.
I got you.
All right, here I go.
You want a standing or sitting?
Oh, standing.
Awesome.
Standing right now.
Rock on, man.
Woo.
Nice legs.
Turn around. And whoever else wants to get a picture can. But.
Hey, Lizzie, Lizzie, can you stand a little bit too and catch the downwards also?
Ruth Ann? What's up? How you doing? This is Evan. Ethan. What's up, man? How you doing?